Today we're going to be exploring the side deck and looking at current innovations that we're going to be finding ourselves seeing in the modern side deck. So let's dig into this, shall we? 37.6% of you still aren't subscribed. Smash that subscribe button so we can get to 100K. All right, we're so close to 94,000. I can taste it. All right, so what's going on with the modern side deck over here? Number one over here is going to be Contact C. This actually kind of started coming up more past the end of last format, where we started to see this card be a counter to Dragon Link. Well, it looks like the card is stuck around. So when your opponent normally special summons a monster, except during damage step, you can special summon this card from your hand to your opponent's field. This card's controller cannot fusion, synchro, exceed, or link summon unless they use this card as material. So the entire grand scheme behind this is, well, what happens if we hand this to a deck that maybe specifically exceed summons, for example? Okay, well, it's level 6. So we can't very well use it with a Zodiac deck. All right, that's a very bad example, but you know what I mean. All right, we hand it over to something like, I don't know, Drytron. Well, Drytron can capitalize with it, so you shouldn't be using it with that, because they can just simply overlay it, because level 6. All right, but more like your matchups with Dragon Link, Tri-Brigade's going to have to link out with this thing. And, you know, some of their monsters have more specific interaction points than others. So unless you're doing it against something that plays more of a generic extra deck for this, the entire point of this is to stunt your opponent at certain points in their combo where, oh, well, you know, we were going to try to make this. Well, unfortunately, we can't, because this card's entire goal is to restrict the opponent at key points in their play. If you misplay this card, you will be punished very, very badly. All right, but if you know the combo matchups, you know the choke points in certain decks, this card is actually really freaking good for handling pretty much all of those bare bones situations. So you misplay it, you get punished. If you play it correctly, you're getting the game back to your turn, so you can effectively do just that. Play the freaking game, right? You know how hard it is to play Yu-Gi-Oh these days, man? Number 2 on our list over here is Droll and Lockbird. Now, Droll and Lockbird's rise in modern-day Yu-Gi-Oh! Shouldn't be a surprise to any of you. For whatever reason, people are still shocked with Droll and Lockbird sees play. But when you have a deck like Drytron over here, whose entire purpose is to go draw, search, 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 you know, Ava, you have to do some counterpoints to do this. Well, unfortunately, the counterpoint to Droll's already been figured out. They're playing, you know, the Dragoon package now so that they can end on Verte, but you're basically trading one evil for another. Well, the one evil you're trading off is if you Droll your opponent, you're not going to have to deal with, okay, you might still have to deal with a Herald, but effectively, it's going to have to be a Dragoon that you're going to have to deal with at the end of the day. Your opponent's probably going to be on one resource, and 95% of the modern day decks that are at least competitive don't really have as much of a problem with Zeus as they used to be. But on the flip side of things here, Droll and Lockbird against Dragon Link, oh, that's pretty good. You know, not so much amazing against Tri-Brigade. You can get some value off of it, but it's not that good. Stopping an Alistair from being able to touch down, you know, Magical Meltdown, then you draw them on Resolution. That's pretty cute. But at the end of the day, this card's value is specifically centered around these biggest search strategies in the format. And, you know, hitting some potential choke points against Prank Kids aren't that good either, because if everything's going to special summon. But if you want to try to slow down some draw power manipulation, I guess I wouldn't cite it in that matchup for crap, but you know what? People do weird things. So justifying Droll in the Prank Kids matchup. But at the end of the day here, yes, this card is a massive, if not in the main deck, it's definitely a piece of the side decking action right now. Next up over here is Nightbeam. Now, when I initially saw Nightbeam as a tech choice, and when people were talking about this, I just kind of rolled my eyes in the back of my head, because I get why people want Nightbeam to be that card, all right? Because it's got that text on it. It says, hey, your opponent can't chain the card that you're targeting with this. All right, the entire gimmick is no, Revolt, no. Shame on you, Revolt. Bad Revolt. All right, so that's all this card's purpose is your opponent can activate the targeted card in response to this card's activation. There are really weird ways around this by, say, for example, there's a set Cosmic and a set Revolt. Your opponent can very well chain the Cosmic to the Nightbeam, and then they can chain the Revolt to the Cosmic Cyclone because it is not any longer the current activation of the Nightbeam. So there's really weird ways around it, but the entire purpose of this card's point in the modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Is no to Revolt. It also serves as spell and trap destruction generically. Personally, like trading this off for something like a Cosmic or like a Twin Twister, you know, I guess it kind of depends on the deck you're trying to play. Personally, most of the decks right now that are even citing Spell and Trap Destruction, it's usually Twin Twister because they want to ditch a combo piece from their hand or something to the graveyard to get those extension plays rolling, or, you know, the trade-off for the 2-for-2 is effectively worth more than a Nightbeam. Nightbeam's current play level isn't anything great, but it is that saucy interaction point that players look at and go, well, actually, and I mean, the LT has been going up in value, so there are people that actually believe in this card for the modern era, so it's kind of interesting. Next up over here is Solemn Judgment. And the reason that this is gaining a lot of play right now is a lot of the modern era of Yu-Gi-Oh! Always does that going first, going second. All right, that's the most competitive thing. Players will adjust their decks based on going first or second. Ingenious. But what ends up happening here is Solemn Judgment. Pay half of your life points, universally go no to you, all right? And at the end of the day, that's just what it is, all right? You think your opponent is going to make you go first? Let's build a board. Let's build the biggest board we can. And then let's set the Solemn Judgment back here. And then we're going to laugh at our opponent. All right, well, what's our opponent going to do? Well, at that point, they Dark Row no more your entire field, and you can go, no, Solemn Judgment. And then you basically just protected your effective investment. Typically, man, I've seen this in Drytron. I've seen this in Tri-Brigade. I've kind of seen it all over the place, actually. Whether or not it's good in every deck for going first. I mean, you also have the substitute with Solemn Strike in main decks. You do see Judgment in main decks. It just comes down to, do I, going first, want to see Judgment? Is Judgment beneficial to me in the board that I am building? And do I want to see Solemn Judgment? Is Solemn Judgment going to be better than this crap card that I'm siding out? And if the answer is yes, well, congratulations. You just need to know how to play Solemn Judgment. And I still stand by what I say here, that Solemn Judgment is effectively one of the hardest cards in the game to play. And if you mess up a very well-timed Solemn Judgment, well, you probably will be losing that game, unfortunately. So, high risk versus high reward, effectively. So, first or second, it's going first, 95% of the time. Last card I want to talk about over here is Lightning Storm. So, Lightning Storm, yeah, it's Harpy's Feather Duster. It's Raigeki, alright? It effectively cleans up most of the threats in modern era Yu-Gi-Oh! It's not Raigeki, it's not Harpy's Feather Duster, but it's good enough that it cleans up those effective issues that are generated. You can't afford Lightning Storms because they're still $40 on minimum rarity. I understand that. You obviously have substitutes, just like I said, Raigeki, Dark Hole, Harpy. So it's very interesting because some decks I do see that do play this over Harpy's Feather Duster. I'm still not sure how I really feel about that, honestly, but I suppose so. A lot of players value that multitasking monster and Spell and Trap Destruction interchangeably, I would say. Like, I think that this card's better value versus the other ones that are single purpose. And we always do mention in all these side deck cards that the higher the multi-purposeness of the card, the overall better it's going to have an impact for you. I mean, for example, you know, you're going to value Ally of Justice Cycle Reader, you know, for multi-matchups. All right, 2 light decks in the format. That's good. All right, Droll and Lockbird can hit multiple things. You know, Solemn Judgment's universal cross board. But you see what I mean? Like, Contact C can also hit 2 decks in the format. There's a lot of value to really be had in some of these decks. So those are the top decks that, well, side decking Yeah? Yeah? Topside decking options? Mm-hmm. So guys, smash the crap out, subscribe button so you guys don't miss out on more awesome content. And I'll see your beautiful faces back here later on. There's some more cool awesome content. You guys have a good rest of your day, alright? Peace out. Thank you, patrons, for making the ride never truly end. Without you guys' support, well, I would probably be doing Truffle Shuffle videos for a living. Guys, please check out VanCall40 for all of your Cardfight Vanguard content brought to you by MCall40. And if you are looking to pick up singles, check out mcallgames.com for your trading card game needs. Thanks for watching, everybody.